Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. If it ticks, if it clicks, if it tells you the time, I'll review it on this channel. I've looked at a whole bunch of stuff so far. Digital, quartz, mecha quartz, automatic and manual wind. So it's always nice to see a combination of features that I haven't encountered before. And this, the second piece that I've reviewed by the Neymar brand, offers something a little bit different. It's a 1,000-meter dive watch, stainless and sapphire with a quartz movement and a 10-year battery life. Fantastic weekend watch. The perfect weekend watch perhaps for only $169. I'll leave a link in the description below. But is it any good? Let's flip the camera and find out. So Neymar number 2 then comes in the same fairly innocuous looking black outer packaging that Neymar number 1 did just before Christmas. However, we've got a branded Neymar box on the inside and date just, I'm not so sure about that one, I have to say. But inside the watch we've got another Rolex style piece, but as mentioned in the intro, 10-year battery life quartz, so something a little bit different. Well, we're going to do the usual with this one, dimensions and specifications. Fantastic loom shot, no movement accuracy report though today as it's a quartz, and we'll get it on the wrist. Some subjective analysis, and I always find something to moan about, don't I? So 40mm in diameter this one, 15mm thick though, it's a chunky little thing, plenty of wrist presence, but nicely curved lugs, and it does have most of its height at the top half of the watch, not a particularly deep case back, so it wears pretty well as I'll show you later on. 47mm lug tip to lug tip, so again in keeping with the 40mm diameter. 20mm lug width, tapering down to 18 at the clasp, going back up to a 20mm clasp. Now the bracelet's a pretty good one. We've got a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces, polished mid links and brushed outers, but the brushing is consistent throughout. The solid links obviously just push pins. Now I resized this one, and from memory the old Neymar broke a couple of tools. It was such a beast, but no problems at all with this one. A nice laser etched Neymar logo on the clasp there, and it's a milled clasp. Always a bonus, especially on something that doesn't quite sting you $200. And you may have spotted it, helium release valve on the case there. 1,000 meters of water resistance, so by far the most water resistant quartz watch I've looked at on the channel to date. And look at that lovely piece of domed sapphire crystal, definitely a couple of millimeters thick there to help cope with the advertised pressures of 1,000 meters. Helium escape valve advertised loud and proud on the chapter ring there. Now get a zoom in on the dial too. Mixture of printed and applied, so we've got a printed Neymar logo and professional 1,000 meter water resistant above the 6 o'clock there, but we've got some nice applied indices, and there's a decent chunk of loom on this one. I'll pop up a loom shot. As discussed, I'm a bit of a loom pig, the more loom the better, so this one certainly satisfies me. Decent amount of C3 superluminova on the hands, on the indices, and plenty of it on the bezel as well. And the bezel is pretty much as you would expect it to be, 120 click, unidirectional, pretty nice action. Not a massive amount of grip from the bezel itself though, so you're going to have to apply perhaps a little bit of extra pressure, but it aligns nicely and clicks into place. Not much backplay to speak of there at all, which is good. Finishing on the case itself is of a pretty decent standard. Nice rich polish on the side with a brushing on the lugs there, and it actually integrates quite well with the bracelet, which is always good to see. We've got a nice grippy crown, screw down crown, obviously given that it's a dive watch with a massive water resistance rating, and a nicely machined case back there as well, advertising that 100 bar 1,000 meters, and it's a professional dive watch allegedly. Now you're not going to be taking this one off very easily yourself because of the design, but that's the point. 10 years battery life. Now I can't find any more information on the Neymar website or on Amazon as to what movement this watch uses or how they justify that claim that it's got a 10-year battery life, but I think there is definitely appeal of a decent dive watch with some chunky loom, nice bit of sapphire crystal and a 10-year battery, so you're not going to be taking the back off of this one more than once a decade. Something clearly you don't want to do all that often if it's getting wet regularly with you. So there is the watch on top of my 7-inch wrist. It's a chunky little thing, but as mentioned, wears nicely due to the curvature of the lug. You can definitely feel the extra weight though. I'm conscious that this one is over the 135, coming in at 165, so you wouldn't really want it to be any heavier than that, or it could get a little bit top heavy. But loving the sunburst on the dial. I don't mind that two-tone actually. I've not seen a lot of pieces with a coloured dial and a different colour ceramic bezel insert, but I think it works quite well. Decent brushing as mentioned, nice clasp there too, so looks pretty good on the wrist, the Neymar. So there you have a side-by-side comparison of the Neymar with my current favourite blue-dialed Rolex Submariner homage beta watch of choice, the Phoebus PY006. Both of these watches retail for an identical $169. Now I think the Neymar is better looking. I think it's better built than the Phoebus. I think the ceramic bezel insert and fantastic lume way outclasses the Phoebus's rather poor lume, and I think the bracelet on the Neymar is nicer. It's got a proper milled security claspers there, as well as opposed to the Phoebus's pressed version. However, the Phoebus is an auto, the Neymar is a quartz, albeit only a Miyota 8000 series derivative in the Phoebus. For some people that'll be a deal breaker, they won't be interested in the Neymar because of that. But obviously, two different ways of spending the same amount of money on a similar looking watch then, and I think both of them fairly valid choices in the end. So moans and niggles then, well, it's a quartz, that's not going to appeal to everybody. Neymar, not sure about the brand name, but hey, let's leave that to one side for the moment. My biggest gripe is a QC issue. The second hand does not meet up with the indices, so you're going to have this thing ticking away for a whole decade, not quite hitting any index at any point over that 10-year period. But if you can live with that, I kind of see the sense of the Neymar as a kind of grab and go watch, a second watch, a beater watch, weekend watch, one that you don't have to set every time you pick it out the box though. It should be reliable, it should be accurate, it should be certainly tough enough given the steel, the sapphire, the milled clasp, 1000 meters of water resistance. This one should prove a sturdy and reliable second watch or beater watch for 10 years, if not more. So there you have it. If you're not averse to quartz movements in your timepieces, then this Neymar has plenty of features for $169. A real grab and go piece, something to throw in a drawer or a watch box, pull it out on a Friday night, chuck it back in on a Sunday night and not worry too much about it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.